All right, guys. So check this out. We back with another episode of the Coach's Corner with your boy Coach John Jay, and I got a special guest today. Somebody I got a lot of respect for, and by the time you guys see this and figure out what he's done over the course of his life in athletics and sports, you guys will probably have a lot of respect for him too. So I got Coach Irv, which is my boy Coach Irvin Barnett with me, and we're gonna talk about some good stuff today that you guys probably don't normally hear about on the regular. So Coach Irv, tell everybody who you are and tell everybody what you did before now, because I know you had some experience in this professional sports thing.
All right, my name's Irvin Barnett, better known as Coach Irv. I currently coach basketball and high school track at Mount Perrin Christian School. Prior to that, my basketball playing career quite naturally, I played at Sandy Creek High School, played basketball. Went to the University of Georgia, go Dogs, and went in for walk-on tryouts. Was able to make the team as a walk-on. Did not really. Our team was loaded with talent, so walk-ons did not get a lot of play. But tried my hand at intramural basketball there. My intramural team went to the state championship, won that. Went to nationals, lost in the championship. Had an opportunity to try out to go play overseas. Made that tryout to go over and play in Australia. Ended up injuring my knee prior to that season. So came back home, been training and playing in pro-am leagues and things ever since.
That's cool. So like I said, y'all, he has an extensive career in athletics and basketball specifically, but he also coaches track, and I got a chance to play with him on the court a couple times. I know y'all think I just lift weights and just work out, but I really can play. Like, can
play.
Hey, listen,
he can play.
On a bum knee.
And listen, I'll be honest. If you can't play, I'm not gonna say you can play, but he can play.
All right, so now we validated that the coach can actually play. So y'all know when I'm trying to coach y'all and tell y'all what to do, it's coming from some experience. So I got Coach Irv here today, man. We had an opportunity over this past summer to do something really special. I believe it's something that everybody should do. That's a coach or invest in. If you're coaching, no matter what age you are, I believe that you should invest in some type of conditioning program, and not just physical. I know a lot of you guys think about physical conditioning, but mental conditioning. So I had a chance to do strength and conditioning, preseason strength and conditioning for Irvin's team, and I had a phenomenal time. So Coach, tell me why would you even, like, why was it a thought to bring somebody in to get you guys in physical conditioning and to do a program like this for the summer?
I think the importance of it is, and my thought process in doing it was, essentially when you enter into a season, not only do you need to be in physical shape, you need to be in mental shape. Basketball is a rigorous sport, and you have to be mentally tough as well as physically tough to be able to survive the course of the season. So my idea was I wanted to get somebody who was very, very knowledgeable in being able to strengthen a player's mental toughness and physical toughness prior to the season, so that when my team started the season, we would be in mid-season form at the beginning of the season.
Absolutely. So you guys heard it from, again, you can tell he has some kind of professional experience and understanding, like, the rigorous things that a player will experience over the course of a season, because a lot of times we see these guys playing, we don't, they make it look so easy on the court, we don't think that they go through anything while they're playing or behind the scenes. And when the doors of the gym are closed, they have some things that they have to really, some adverse situations that they have to work out. And so Coach Irv brought me in, and what I didn't tell you guys is he also brought me in on another special project, which is I trained his son, who is an 8-year-old, who's probably the most cerebral athlete I've ever seen at 8. I mean, some of the concepts we were working on and teaching, and some of the stuff he just kind of grasped on, man, it was crazy to see at 8, but it's just a testament to how his dad and how Coach Irv understands, the necessary and the need for coaching, all right? And so, Coach, tell me a little bit about before you got the team, where they were, and, kind of their condition as far as wins and losses, as far as mentality and culture of just being tough-minded.
Well, before I got the team, a lot of my players are baseball players by nature. So when you're dealing with basketball, a lot of people don't understand that it is a year-round sport. you constantly need to be working on your game. So with the majority of my team playing baseball in 2/3 of the year, they're only picking up a basketball when it's time to play on the team, and that's a little too late when you're going up against teams who have basketball-specific players. So the team, from a mental standpoint, did not really understand what it took to be mentally tough throughout the course of a season. All they knew was, okay, we're going to get on the basketball team, we're going to play some games, and their record they'd only won one game in the past 2 years. After working with Coach John, and let me just stop and say this. This man is unbelievable in what he was able to do in transforming my team mentally and physically.
Thank you.
Our first game of the season, the team that we played, we lost to by 20 last year. We beat them by 30 this year, the first game of the season. Those boys walked into this game mentally prepared and physically prepared for the type of defense that we run, and we run in a very aggressive defense. But the things that Coach John was able to do, I was amazed in being around this sport for so many years. I was amazed at how my players were able to physically train and mentally train simultaneously. And I think that was the biggest wow factor for me in terms of using you.
Absolutely. Well, man, listen, so he said a mouthful. And the one thing about who I am as a coach and as a trainer, more so than the specifics of sports, the mental part of doing anything. I know a lot of people think that athletics, you have to be dominant. And what I like to tell people when I'm coaching, no matter from age 8 to age 68, if you don't understand how significant you are as a person first, you won't be able to dominate anything, because you won't have the self-confidence, you won't have the self-worth, and you won't put forth your best effort. Because if you think to yourself, well, I'm already not that good, so I'm just gonna give 60% today, because it really doesn't matter. And that's not the case in athletics, and it's also not the case in life either. So I did, when Coach told me that he wanted me to come and do some athletic training and to get them mentally, to get them in physical condition, I told him, I said, Coach, I'm coming, and I'm gonna bring them also, I'm gonna challenge them so tough mentally that by the time they get to season, that the culture of wanting to work hard won't be an issue. And so that's kind of what we got a chance to achieve in a very short period of time. And so, Coach, if you don't mind, tell me a little bit about the progression that you've seen in some of the players that may not have been as tough mentally as they are now, and their physical condition. Well, tell me some of the progression that you've been able to see.
I believe that on every team, and we'll just speak apples to apples and truths to truths. On every team, you're always going to have a couple of players that are far beyond their age group mentally and physically in playing. You will also have a couple of people on the team who may not be so strong. Some of my players who were not as strong mentally and physically, after working with Coach John, it increased their flexibility, their mental toughness, their physical toughness, and now in games, I don't hesitate going to the bench and bringing anybody in, the person that's at the beginning of the bench or the end of the bench, to substitute for one of my starters, and I can know that I can do it confidently and not lose anything. That was one of the biggest areas I was able to see for a couple of my players, and the mental toughness that he instilled in the team was able to gain their mental confidence in the game. So where I have a player that may not have ever taken a shot in the game and passed up the open shot, he's looking for taking a shot with a defender on him now. And so it's made my team tough all the way around. I don't just have 1 to 2 guys that I can look to score. I don't have just 1 to 2 guys that I can look to play defense on the best player on the opposite team. The mental toughness that he instilled in these kids, and the way that he did it, he was able to instill mental toughness in these kids without being demeaning or belittling in the process. He broke them down but built them up. All the while, he gained their trust the entire time. I'm telling you, if you were able to see my team before and now, you would be amazed at the abilities that they have now that they did not have before.
Wow, that's a lot. That's a I definitely appreciate the compliment. And I tell people all the time, when you do what myself and Coach Irv he's more sports specific than I am. When you do what you do, when people do well, the coach gets most of the credit. And when you terrible and the team is doing bad, the players get the credit then. But I tell people all the time, like, there's a 50-50 relationship that we have to have with the players. We instruct them to do certain stuff, and they have to believe in you enough as a coach to do it and to do it without question, because some of these guys are freakish athletes within themselves. And so I definitely appreciate the compliment, but I can't take all the credit because you have some great athletes and they were ready and willing to learn.
Something else that I noticed too, my 8-year-old, I've always noticed that he was a pretty good athlete. Training your son is kind of difficult because you have to take the hat off as a dad and put the hat on as a trainer. So being able to put him with somebody who was able to challenge him, he was able to take my son to a different level this year in both basketball and football. And not to brag, but I have to. Coach John, again, is amazing, man. My son, I think, finished the season with 22 touchdowns this year.
Oh, wow.
He's always been a freakish athlete, but being able to understand the game from a cerebral standpoint was something that you challenged him to do. In basketball, he just finished the game on Saturday and he scored 26 at 8 years old.
Wow.
And
wow.
Being able, we were in a tight game, and at the end of the game, he came to me and he said, "Dad, whatever you need me to do, I got the team. You can put them on my back."
Oh,
my
wow.
8-year-old came to me and told me this.
Wow.
And I was like, that's all Coach John did.
Wow.
That's all Coach John.
Wow. Well, listen, I can take a little bit of credit, but I didn't make him. He don't have my genes, So, it's you and your genetics, and then the way that you guys raise him as well. Very respectful kid, loves sports. I mean, can probably break down film better than some high school or college athletes if he wants to. And so, like I said, man, this is the coach's corner, and I'm in you guys' corner in more ways than just one. A lot of you guys know that fitness is a big thing to me, but what you don't know, or what you probably have figured out by now, that fitness has kind of contributed to my discipline as a person more than my attributes physically. Like, I work out, but not because I like working out, because I like it. I do it because of the disciplines that it creates with me to do certain things beyond what I probably would do. And so at the end of last year, I authored my first book, which is titled Conception Created Significance. If you weren't needed here, you would not have made it. And a lot of the information that came from those chapters in that book was content from me dealing with people and seeing how, a person that had this crazy amount of potential didn't see themselves as, a person who could produce a third of what they really could do. And so that's so I get the personal growth and development content that I do from the personal training and the strength and conditioning and the coaching that I do physically with people. And so the one thing, again, as we talk about how his team has made progressions, I like to believe that the bulk of the positive gains that they made came from the mental things that you wanted me to make sure I focus on. So I'll give it to you like this. I created certain drills that his athletes they could kill under normal circumstances, but I created unnormal circumstances or uncommon circumstances, and I made them do it longer. I added weight. I made them wear weight. I put bands on them. And Coach, what did you see in your players and how they kind of got over that adversity and how they took that from just the program into the season?
I think originally in doing the drills, quite naturally, when you're coming into the gym and you got a trainer who's as rigorous as Coach John, he's giving you these obstacles to overcome. Mentally, some people are already defeated before they start. But in the process, by him talking to them and building up their mental toughness, they were able to withstand these drills longer than they were able to even stand the drill to begin with. Transitioning that over into the season, I noticed it during basketball tryouts.